Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Quentin here, and welcome back to tutorial number 12. And in this tutorial, I am going to show you guys how to use an external style sheet on your web page. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is just what are the advantages of using an external style sheet. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to speak about what we did in the previous tutorial quickly. And in the previous tutorial, we learned about inline CSS, which is where we used styling inside of the tag itself. So we had to go ahead and put in a style attribute and then put in some style rules over here as well. Okay, but I showed you guys that this wouldn't really be the best way to use CSS on your web page, because this will only change one element, and that is the element that the style tag is inside of. Okay, so it would be much better to use an internal style sheet. But again, an internal style sheet is not really the best way to use CSS, because let's say I had 1 or 2 or 3 or 100 websites, okay, web pages on my website. Okay, I would then have to go ahead and copy these styling rules over all 100 of those web pages until all of them can look the same or follow the same theme, which is really what you want on your website. Okay, that all the pages look very similar. Okay, now of course copying all of that code would get a bit tedious, and it means if we ever have to change something, we have to go back and change it on all 100 web pages. Okay, so it is much better to use an external style sheet, which is what I'm going to show you guys how to do in this video. And to start off, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of all of that styling so that our web page basically looks blank again. It should look like this. If I click refresh, yes, okay. So let's go ahead and make an external style sheet and then learn how to style that way. So I'm going to go ahead and file new and file save as, and I'm just going to save this new file as main.css. Now be sure to save it in the same directory as your index.html file. Okay, if you save it anywhere else, then you need to make sure that you've watched my video on directory structures and you understand how to link to a file that's in a different folder. Okay, so for now we've just got this blank main CSS file, but let's go ahead and actually add in some styling to this. Okay, so I told you guys before that if we want to select all of the paragraphs on a web page, we can just use the selector P and then we put in our 2 curly braces. Okay, now as you can see, one of the other advantages of using an external style sheet is that Notepad++ really helps us out with this kind of thing, and it's already letting us know that paragraph, or the P that we selected, is an element. Okay, so we're selecting by an element name, and that is why P turned the same color blue as our elements on our web page. Okay, so let's go ahead and now add in a rule. So we'll just go ahead and say color red. And as you can see, again, Notepad++ is helping us out even further, because anything that is a valid CSS property is going to turn this gray color, and then anything that's a value, that'll stay black as normal. Okay, so right now we've changed all of the colors of our paragraphs to red, and let's also change our heading 1. Okay, so we'll change the background color of that to be let's just say yellow again. Okay, but we're not done yet, because although we have our styling rules here, we have no way of telling HTML, okay, this web page needs to look for its styling in this folder or in this file. Okay, so to do that, we actually use a link in the head of our web page. So we go ahead and say link, and then we say rel, which stands for relationship, and over here we just put in style sheet, and then we put in the href, okay, which is basically the location of where to look for this CSS file. And because they're in the same directory, I can just go ahead and say main.css, and then I'll go ahead and close that off with a slash. Okay, so now when we go back and click refresh, you can see we have indeed got our styling appearing on the web page. So that is quite awesome indeed. Okay, so just remember guys, whenever you want to use an external style sheet, don't forget to link to it in the head of your web page, and then also just make sure that you keep to the proper CSS rules, which we are going to learn about in the future. Okay, but just to stress this again, whenever you're using a CSS, or whenever you're trying to change some CSS, you're going to use a selector to tell HTML what element you want to change. Okay, so P for paragraphs, H1 for H1 tags, etc. And then the second part inside of these curly braces, that is the property. So what do you want to change about the tag? And then also what the value is that you want to change this property to. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys in this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, or share the video. It's really going to help my channel grow, and I'll see you guys next time.